In 2017 I bought this one, the iPad Pro 2017 version. Of course, I also bought the Apple Pencil 1. So in addition, I bought the Apple keyboard, which was easily to attach to the iPad Pro, closed, and that's it. However, there was no protection on the back side, and still we had no place for our Apple Pencil. And many of you who also bought this remember the problem we had, where to put the Apple Pencil. So one solution was buying such a rubber thing where you just put in your Apple Pencil, but it wasn't a very good solution. So finally they came up with a solution from Como. I recommend it all the time for this iPad, which you just apply to the back, and suddenly we had a space for the Apple Pencil. So it was easy to apply the Apple Pencil. The holes here on the back made it easy to take the Apple Pencil out, sorted. And in addition, there was still room for the connectors, was just on the side of the iPad Pro. So it was easy to still attach the keyboard, and we had the protection all over the place for the iPad Pro, and the Apple Pencil had a space there. Then just open this and it was sorted, and you could start to write because it's directly connected. It needs no charging, it has no battery, nothing. Then the new iPad 2018 was released and they made a major change. Hi everyone, and welcome to the Paperless Movement YouTube channel. I'm Tom Solid and I research the best hardware and software solutions that you need to digitize your life to become more productive at work and in your home office, so you will have more time for the things that really matter to you. And talking about productivity, yes, in my opinion, using the right case for your iPad Pro is a huge productivity improvement. The change was especially how the keyboard connects to the iPad Pro, and you can see it here. The three dots I showed you before were here, where are now here on the back. So it's a completely different positioning. So this also means that none of the old keyboards would fit. So they had to offer a new keyboard, which is this one. It's nearly 200 euros, this thing. And I don't know what to say. So you see here are the three dots. So they made the whole back. So it was possible to easily apply now the iPad like this, and the dots will connect here, and then you have it like this. But look at this, I don't know what it is, what material Apple is using. Within a day it was looking like this. It's just messed up. As soon you lie it down somewhere, it just looks dirty. So I haven't had this with the other covers. They're using completely different materials, and I really prefer this because it stays clean. But in this case, it became dirty very soon. Anyway, so now I applied this keyboard, and what you can do is put it like this or put it like this, and that's it. There are two positions, and on top you put your Apple Pencil. So the problem is now that you can take off your Apple Pencil and then you can tap around like this, and you can also write like this, but it's really hard to do this. So if you want to make drawings, you have to put it flat and then you can draw on this. In my opinion, it's no solution. I need to have an angle, and it was a real disappointment. And in addition, it has no protection at all, because if you look at the side, there is no protection going on. So the Apple Pencil is on top of it, and believe me, I'm going to a lot of meetings each day. I have to walk around with this, and if you carry it like this, this drops off. Either you're carrying like this, it will drop off eventually. You know, I see these videos where people do this and this and this. These are no real world situations. You're walking, you just, stick somewhere. It dropped 1 to 2 times each day, just carrying around it like this. So I was looking for a solution again. And in addition, I don't know if you can see this here. So here you see this. This is actually one of the panels here on the back. You see this? One of these triangles. I used the wrong glue to put it on the wall, and it dropped around from this height onto the cover from my iPad and see what happened. Actually, this happened. Okay, so there was no protection at all. This thing weighs around 200 grams. I was really disappointed that it went through this and broke my newly bought iPad Pro. So that's when I said, okay, I need a better protection. If I knew if this drops once, the whole thing will break. So luckily, the first third-party companies were developing new covers. And I made a video about this in detail, testing all these covers. And the cover I finally settled on, the company I showed you before, they also finally developed one for the iPad Pro 2018. So it was easy to put it in there. You got a surround protection there. The camera is hidden there as well, so it lays flat. And the best thing is that you still can put your Apple Pencil on top. It will still connect and charge on your iPad. And if you put it the other way around, you can just carry it around without charging. So you save the battery of your Apple Pencil. So that was the solution. And the other advantage was that I was able finally to put it in the angled position that I always preferred to use it, which is for me perfect to just make drawings and write things. Okay, so that's the perfect angle. However, of course, the keyboard was missing, and as they didn't put the connectors on the bottom, there was no alternative for this anymore, so it was only this way. So what I did, I bought foldable keyboards. So one I showed you already in another video about this one, which is, you know, very small compared to the whole thing to carry around. And if I need to write something, I take this up. And I also get another one, which is just, you know, straight, which was easier to use then, but still very small size. And that was the solution for a long time. I realized that I need a keyboard more often than I thought I would need it. So I was, you know, annoyed taking this out, and it is so small. It's a much smaller size than when you use the Apple keyboard. In here it's just, for my fingers, it's too small. So I went back to this and really took care of my iPad so it won't drop. But in the end I ended up using the Apple version. One thing I have to say, people complain about the feeling of the writing of the keyboard. And that's actually something I don't complain. I really like the feeling of the keyboard. I don't know why. It feels special, it feels different. Of course, it doesn't feel like a typical mechanical keyboard or something like that, but I was able to write really fast. I got used to use this keyboard. But as I said in the beginning, I was always afraid that my iPad would break again. And then finally, I saw the solution for all my problems. So this is the Logitech Slim Folio. So in order to put in the iPad, it's very easy. You just put it like this. Like this. And done. And I will use the broken iPad to put it into the Apple keyboard. So now we can really compare both cases next to each other with the same iPad inside. So you see already, when I put my Apple Pencil on here, it is unprotected, and the Logitech has this foldable thing here which protects the Apple Pencil when carrying around. So it will stay closed like this, and it's perfectly protected in my opinion. So what you also have here, you can put it in here. So what this means, it is really stiff, it will stay where it is and it won't charge. So you have the same effect than you had with the other case I showed you when you just turn around the Apple Pencil. So you have the option to save on your battery life just by putting the Apple Pencil like this. So you see on the sides, it is open here, so there's not full protection, but at least my corners are protected. And on the back it looks nearly the same, but again you have the protection on the corners. And the other side is the same thing, protection on the corners. And here you see the socket for the charging cable, because this runs on battery compared to this, because this doesn't connect via the connectors on the back, it connects via Bluetooth. Which I don't mind, because as soon you open the case, it is ready to write. It doesn't take any time to connect or anything, it is just there, so no worries about that. But this socket can be connected with the socket of your iPad, so that's the reason why it's on this side as well, to charge the keyboard as well. So you see, overall there's much more protection. However, it feels a lot heavier. And how much heavier it is, we will just check now. And let's put on. It's 1,360 grams, the weight of the iPad Pro together with the Apple Pencil and the case. So now let's see how much the other one is. It's exactly 300 grams less. Carrying around 300 grams more, this is a lot more. I have to admit this. And it really feels heavier like this. However, as I said, you get the protection. And what you also get with this, and these are the reasons why it's so much heavier, is of course there's much more surface going on, so there's much more material, which makes it heavier already. But you got a full-sized keyboard there with plastic keys. I'm not sure if I'm too happy with how it feels. It feels a bit plasticky, I have to admit this. However, what you get is a backlight, and in addition you get a top row, which is not available on the Apple keyboard. Of course, you always can control this with shortcuts on the keyboard, but in this case everything is available, like, you know, the start button, the home button, and then the search field, and then you can stop your music, or you can bring up the keyboard. You can also check the battery life, and you can control the volume or mute everything. So this is at handy. What I'm not happy about is that you can adjust the brightness here, but it is the brightness of the backlit of the keyboard, and it's only 3 steps. So I would have preferred to control the brightness of my screen, of course, like it is on my MacBook, where I have this control there. The other thing is, you don't have the 2 steps we had before. You can put it like this, but it's not very stable. So I don't understand why they didn't add another magnet here, so it can stay here, there, like we had this on the Apple keyboard, where we have 2 rows, 2 different angles for writing or watching movies or so, and so on. However, we can put it like this, and although I'm not happy with the angle, at least there is some angle, okay, which makes it easier to write. So when I put something in the back, I can adjust the angle, but I don't want to carry around things just so it stays in the back. So I don't understand why they didn't just add something here. I mean, it would make it maybe even heavier, but you can just flip it up, and then you would have a connection to this one. But at least you would have the other angle. So that's a really disappointment. However, having a much better protection, a very nice Bluetooth connection, having the protection for my Apple Pencil in 2 different ways, and that it is much cheaper than having the Apple keyboard, makes it for me the best case to carry around if you need a keyboard and an Apple Pencil connection and a very good protection for your iPad Pro. If you don't need the keyboard and you just use it for art, I still recommend this. Check out the other video where I made about this case here, where you actually get full protection on all sides. So the thing I'm wondering about is, who is actually developing all these things? Why don't they reach out to people like me or the community, make a survey, ask people what they really need, what they use most? Because I always think these companies should have the money to make proper market research, to know what their customers really looking for and find the right solutions. And it can't be the case that it is so simple for people in the Paperless Movement Facebook group have better solutions and simple solutions, nothing complicated, to get a great product out there. I'm open to help out next time when the iPad Pro 2019 will be released and we start from scratch again, finding the right keyboard, case or whatever for the Apple Pencil 3. We don't know what will come there. So if you want to stay up to date on the latest technologies, how to go paperless, then subscribe to this channel and tell your friends about the paperless movement, because we go paperless together. And I'm looking forward to seeing you next time.